sci-fi fantasy writer, blogger, and nerd, and thanks for checking out my channel today. So today I wanted to talk about how to make your story original, how to make it stand out amongst all the other stories that are out there in the world. So picture this. Have you ever had a story idea and you're all excited about it, and then you pick up a book or you see a movie trailer of an upcoming movie and it is your story right before you? Now you may be thinking, oh my gosh, my idea was stolen, or now what am I going to do because now I can't write this book? But I'm here to tell you that there are some tips and tricks that I have to ensure that you still have that story in mind, but to make it original. Tip number 1, change the setting and or time period. So you may have this idea that is considered like a classic trope or something that we've seen, like The Chosen One or Good versus Evil or somebody going on a quest or something that we have seen in a story before. But you can take that same idea and put it into another world. You can make up a world, you can just change the time period. This is something that I did with my first novel, Vanity, where I took a classic ghost story and put it in a steampunk world, which made it its own different thing, and it wasn't something that a lot of people have seen. So changing the environment in which your story is told definitely makes an impact on making it original. Tip number 2, tell the story from a different character's point of view. So an example of this is you could be retelling Red Riding Hood, but instead of it being from Red Riding Hood's perspective, you could be telling it from the wolf's perspective. What's great about this mechanism is you're able to show readers a different side to the story, because every story has two sides, right? So implementing a villain's point of view instead of your protagonist's view definitely makes for an interesting read. Tip number 3, consider a mashup. A great example of this is Lev Grossman's The Magician's Trilogy, where it basically takes Harry Potter meets Chronicles of Narnia. And by doing that, mashing it up together, it's something that you can easily recognize because those are two big stories coming together, but you're able to tell a story of what that looks like when they collide. So you can do something where they are big titles, or maybe it's a retelling with a new spin on it, but something where you're taking two ideas that seem that they don't go together and then merging them together will create a new story that is definitely original. Tip number 4, consider doing a gender swap. So this means that think of the main character in the story that you think has already been told. Perhaps it is male, perhaps it is female, but in your story, in your retelling of this basic idea, you can do a gender swap. So an example of this could be if you do Alice in Wonderland, but instead of doing Alice, if you did Alex in Wonderland. Want to step it up an extra notch? You could do Alex in Wonderland in space. Tip number 5, emphasize voice. So voice is a mechanism in storytelling when you focus on the storyteller of the story. With that, you can have somebody who maybe is doing it from a first-person perspective, and rather than writing just how you normally would talk, maybe the storyteller has an accent of some sort. Or maybe they have their own little quirks and things that they say, like catchphrases that you can implement into your voice as the story is being told. All of this really sets up for an audience who is going to be receptive to this new storyteller. Think of it as when you were a child and you were having a story read to you. Who was it that was reading that story? How did they do it? You can focus on things like inflection or different ways that you can implement just a personalization into who the storyteller is that will definitely set you apart from what you have previously read in other books. Number 6, learn the market. If you are serious about having your novel published, or if you are self-publishing and you want to be able to increase your sales, all of that has to do with knowing what the market is. You need to understand what the current market is, what people are buying, what people are craving, in that you are able to immerse yourself in this business side of storytelling. The importance of this is to know where the trends are going and to be able to follow them. You may find that your story doesn't fit with what is current right now, and that's okay. It's something that you can save your story at this point and decide it's just not marketable right now, but it could be in the near future. Just think of how fashion is, how something could be so trendy in one moment and then die away, and then years go by, and then all of a sudden it comes back and reemerges for a second life. So there is room for your story, even if it doesn't seem like it's something that could be sold right now. Definitely hang on to it, because you never know what the market is going to be in the future, and there could be a resurgence of whatever your story entails. Tell your version of the story. If you stick true to telling your version of the story, you are going to stand out amongst the many stories that are out there. Just like everybody has their own fingerprint, as an author, you have your own version of telling a story. And if you stay true to who you are, that is going to be able to be something that is original in of itself, because you are telling it. It may be done over and over again, and there's nothing new under the sun, so you don't have to worry about that you aren't coming up with something that is completely original, because at the crux of it, all stories have the same elements, and that's just part of the storytelling, and that's what makes a great story, and you're able to identify that. And so utilizing what you know as the basics of a great story, but telling it in your version, is going to be what sets you apart. Well, hopefully now you have a better understanding of how you can have that original story that can make you stand out, and implement these tips and tricks to see that there's something that you can do to expand what your story is. Have a tip of your own I didn't mention? Go ahead and drop it in the comment section below. With that, I hope you guys have a great week. If you want to follow me on my adventures, you can follow me on social media. I have links down below. You can also tweet me at Lenn Woolston. And I hope you guys have an amazing week, and until next video, bye!